right, let's begin our regular session with the salute to the flag then. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thanks, everybody, and welcome to the regular meeting of the Board of Education. Tonight, again, is our focus is the budget, and if you're just joining us, Ms. Truba did an excellent explanation, and we will discuss that further. But I think it's important for our students to give their report. Again, I was recognizing everyone who took part in Rock of Ages, our spring musical. So, Ms. Rogers, would you like to begin?
Sure, thank you. Oh, I don't need one. I do need it.
Just so that the people at home can hear as well. I know, it's kind of daunting.
Last time we were so quiet that we didn't know that it wasn't on. Board members, educators, parents, and students. I'm Jean Rogers, an OTHS Student Council representative. I would like to notice a couple of exciting or important events happening within the district. The OTHS Varsity Club Fashion Show will take place this Thursday at 7 p.m. at TOIS. OTHS Student Council is hosting Spartan Olympics next Friday, March 31st, during the school day, with a fun spirit week all week leading up to the event. The Ocean Township Elementary School PTA Talent and Variety Show is this Friday, March 24th at 7 p.m. at the high school. And finally, the OTHS Spanish Club will be taking a trip to NYC this Friday, March 24th, to visit the Museum of Modern Art, eat dinner, and watch a flamenco festival.
Thank you. Steve, what do you have for us?
Good evening, board members in the Ocean Township community. I'm Nick Williams, Trinity High School. Last Thursday and Friday, students from the Rock of Ages cast attended the Teen Arts Festival at Brookdale Community College, where they put on an amazing performance for the attendees of that conference. I'm also excited to announce that spring sports have officially started. Lacrosse, softball, and baseball all have their first scrimmages this week, followed by a golf team who has their first tournament of the season on Monday, and then matches throughout the next upcoming weeks. Thank you.
Thank you. That was excellent. And the weather's been very cooperative. Let's hope it carries through into next week as well. Thank you for your report. Pardon?
I think it's going to rain.
You think it's going to rain? Oh, no.
Don't.
I know. Let's move to Dr. Franklin to your report.
Yes, we had a couple of students that we were planning on acknowledging this evening, but unfortunately, I don't think either one could make it. I don't believe either one is here. But I just want to announce, what we're going to hope to get them at another. They just couldn't make it this evening, so we'll hope to get them to another meeting. But just to mention that the following students that I'll name were accepted into the All Shore Jazz Band for this year in the short conference. Two jazz ensembles made up of students, and the performance was held on Saturday, the 4th of February at Manalapan High School. Of course, under our students under the direction of Mr. Kyle Titmus, our band director. So those students were Miles Fort on the drums. And this was Miles' fourth year being accepted into the All Shore Jazz Band, and Aldia Martinez also his third year being accepted on the tenor sax. But so we couldn't have Miles and Aldia tonight; they couldn't make it. But hopefully, we will have them at another meeting. We'll give them the recognition in person. But I just wanted to mention that wonderful accomplishment. If you're able to make the in the month of March, an outstanding display of art. So it's really been with the performances that you mentioned. It's really been it was great that the school is actually the Rock of Ages. Which was pretty cool, and you got to see two great performances. It's really been quite a month for the arts in Ocean.
As it should be. So. Excellent. Thank you very much.
Sure.
Mrs. Gilman.
may I just say, if I'm not mistaken, both of those students were in the band. One of them played in Rock of Ages. The drums in the band was Miles Fort, and Aldir Martinez is, if you went to the show, the gentleman who came out on the sax. So if you saw Rock of Ages, they were both in it in
Yes,
those
they were.
capacities.
They were performing. They were excellent. Thank you, Ms. McGovern. Ms. Truba, your report?
I talked enough tonight.
You talked enough tonight.
You did a great job.
Thank you. All right. Public comment regarding agenda items. Ms. Conway, is there anyone who would like to comment on an agenda item?
No, Madam President, there are no commenters for the first comment section tonight.
Thank you. Is there anyone in the auditorium who would like to make a comment on an agenda item?
Budget.
Yes, that is an agenda item. Absolutely. If you'll just state your name.
I'm Larry Kaplan. It's specifically regarding the budget. With the increase of the home prices in the township, I mean, we know that Oakhurst and West Allenhurst, a lot of the people buying the homes in those specific regions are not utilizing our school. Is our school system population increasing or decreasing? If it is decreasing, should the budgets actually reflect a decrease in the actual total amount of our general budgets to reflect a per student? Like if we're decreasing by 100 students a year, is the budget supposed to reflect a decrease of 100 students per year, or is it just based solely on the value of homes?
Would you like one of you, the business administrator or Dr.
As far as the population, it's on average about 80 students per year. That's been pretty consistent for the last 10 to 15 years. As far as the other portion of it,
Well, basically, were you here? I'm sorry, were you here for the presentation?
I was here for part of the presentation.
Okay, so basically, when you look at what the school is asking for, the rate of what the school is asking for went from 1.07 down to 0.93, which represents like a 13% decline in what the school is asking for from a rate perspective, based on the fact that your assessed values went up so much. So, I mean, we are year over year, if you look at our budgets, are our budgets going up? They are, but they're going up less than the 2%. So that is being done because we are making decisions as we are continuing to see declining enrollment. We are looking at staffing and where we need teachers, where we don't need teachers, where we need administrators. So these are conversations that we go through as we're building the budget process. So this year, there's overall about 27 positions, not people, 27 positions that we have looked at that we said either with retirements or potential position cuts, which we have not decided yet on all of those individuals, that we are taking the numbers down because we do have declining enrollment and we're able to consolidate class sizes. So we do look at those factors when building the budget.
If you're decreasing by 80 students enrolled each year for year over year for the past several years, is that more than 2% of the enrolled students?
I think he's asking if it's, forgive me if I'm not understanding this correctly. I think he's asking if it's a direct correlation.
Right.
If we're losing 80 students and 80 students is 5% of our budget, should our budget go down 5%?
It was not in the past. If that's what the question is, it was not in the past because what wound up happening, as you can imagine, additional programs per state requirements need to be brought in. When you look at the declining enrollment, our gen ed population is going down and our special ed population is remaining fairly flat. So therefore, it's becoming a larger percentage of what we're teaching. So it's smaller classroom sizes typically, okay, in those particular areas. And it also brings in different programs. So I would say this year, the question you're asking, we absolutely did that. We really took a look at how many students we lost and what could we do. In the past, I don't think we did do that. because we were getting ESSER funds, we were getting other grants, right? And now what we're doing is we're managing exactly the way you're saying.
I mean, it's typically as things go down, like even if you're maintaining like a budget, the reason why the percentage goes down is because you need to collect the same amount of money based on a value that you're equalizing everyone on. However, when you are, even if you're reducing but if you're reducing the number of students to that degree, even with increases in certain budgets, like it's getting a little ridiculous. It's going way too high just because there may be caps in towns on percentage that you can only go up 2%. It doesn't mean you have to go up 2%.
No, but this year, I mean, as you could imagine, right? There's nothing that went up 2% this year. 80% of the schools, of this school's budget is contractual. It was established and the last year of the contract is coming up this year. So we knew what the pay raises were. Our healthcare benefit costs went up by 15.1%. We then took a look at that and we were able to move our prescription plan back into the state plan, and we were able to save $800,000, which means our healthcare only went up by 8%. When I look at all of my construction materials, nothing is below 10% increase. So the fact that we came in at 2.48% speaks a lot of what this administration has done to try to keep the tax rate as low as possible.
So maybe you need to go out into the real world and look at the way regular businesses operate, because they can't keep increasing prices beyond what their clients will pay them. You know, they need to work within their financial means as opposed to continue to go and ask for more and more and more. I mean, you're getting free money based on the increase of home prices in this area, but it's not being spent effectively in order to pay for the programs that you're paying for. You're probably way overpaying for a lot of the things, a lot of the new services and services that you're already trying to provide or trying to add.
We have to follow purchasing guidelines of the state. Right. And the state this year actually said that we could go way above the 2% because of the increase in costs. And we chose not to do that.
The governor is going to a $52 billion budget from a $30 billion budget. You know, but we didn't see any of that money coming to our town.
Well, we did. I mean, the state did give us an additional like almost $500,000 that we would not have gotten if the S2 calculation and what the state did, you know, it would have been worse by 500,000.
But it has to end at some point. We're not just making money in our basement. Thank you.
I agree. I'm
Thank you, Mr. Kaplan, for your comments. Is there anyone else in the auditorium who would like to comment on an agenda item? If not, we will move to the action items approval of minutes. Mr. McCarthy.
Move to approve items 5.1 through 5.3. Do I have a second?
Second.
Ms. Beal?
Yes.
Ms. Hayes?
Yes.
Mr. McCarthy?
Yes.
Mr. McGovern?
Yes.
Ms. Colanos?
Yes.
Ms. Talarico?
Yes.
Ms. Tortorella?
Yes.
Mr. Weinstein?
Yes.
Ms. Gilman?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you very much. We'll move to financial management and resource services. Ms. Tortorella.
Move to approve items 6.1 through 6.15, but I do need to read two of them, if you'll bear with me. 6.13, be it resolved. Move to approve the 2023-2024 tentative school district budget for submission to the county superintendent for review as follows. The superintendent recommends approval to adopt the tentative budget for fiscal year 23-24. Be it resolved that the tentative budget be approved for the 23-24 school year using the 23-24 state aid figures, and the school business administrator board secretary be authorized to submit the following tentative budget to the executive county superintendent of schools for approval in accordance with the statutory deadline as all listed below. And 6.14, I don't move to approve the 23-24 budget And 6.15, be it resolved that the Township of Ocean Board of Education included in the final budget the adjustment for increased cost of health benefits in the amount of $702,630. The additional funds will be used to pay for the additional increase in health benefit premiums. May I have a second?
Second.
We got it.
Any questions on any of the? Okay, Ms. Beal?
Yes to all except 6.13, 6.14, recused for professional reasons.
Okay, Ms. Hayes?
Yes.
Mr. McCarthy?
Yes.
Ms. McGovern?
Yes.
Ms. Prolanis?
Yes.
Ms. Delarico?
Yes.
Ms. Tortorella?
Yes.
Mr. Weinstein?
Yes.
Ms. Gilman?
Yes,
Motion carries.
thank you very much. Now we can send our preliminary
Thank you.
figures in. Let's move to instruction, education, and student activities. Mrs. Beal?
Move to approve 7.1 through 7.7. Move to affirm 7.8.
Second.
Who seconded them? I
Ms.
apologize.
Tortorella.
Ms. Beal?
Yes.
Ms. Hayes?
Yes.
Mr. McCarthy?
Yes.
Ms. McGovern?
Yes.
Ms. Prolanis?
Yes.
Ms. Delarico?
Yes.
Ms. Tortorella?
Yes.
Mr. Weinstein?
Yes, to all except for 7.2, I'll recuse myself from the first two line items around Monmouth University.
And Ms. Gilman?
Yes. I'm sorry, I need to recuse myself from 7.8. Yes, for all except 7.8.
Okay. Got it.
Good. Okay, thank you very much. We'll move to personnel. Ms. Prolanis?
I'd like to make a motion to move items 8.1 through 8.17. May I please have a second?
Second.
Ms. Truba?
Absolutely. Ms. Beal?
Yes.
Ms. Hayes?
Yes.
Mr. McCarthy?
Yes.
Ms. McGovern?
Yes.
Ms. Prolanis?
Yes.
Ms. Delarico?
Yes.
Ms. Tortorella?
Yes.
Mr. Weinstein?
Yes.
Ms. Gilman?
Yes,
Motion carries.
thank you very much. Let's move to old business. Is there any other old business to discuss? Mr. Hayes?
So we were in the middle of chatting about facilities rentals and stuff. So wait, where is that? That's this one. So there's obviously new people on new committees. So when can we make an appointment or a meeting? I guess it was with Tina and Mr. Bosman Senior to go over where we left off.
In terms of, for the facilities use fees?
Yeah.
Yeah, I was waiting for the team to get back to us.
You're waiting for us.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Can I ask a question? In
Yes.
reference to that, is it okay with you, Madam President, as well as the board, that maybe myself, Natalie, and Alex finish that conversation just to keep, since we're so far into it?
Yes.
And then
That
from
would
there,
make sense.
is the board okay with that,
Continuity.
even though I won't be on finance after that meeting?
Aye.
Okay,
Yes.
well, you're looking at me like you're really mad and you're on the new committee, so I wanted to make sure. Okay. All right,
Is there any objection to them continuing their discussion of facility fees?
we have to just finish it, so. All right, so
So
Natalie.
the three of us will get a date.
Thank you very much.
It's just the three of us.
The three of you?
Yes.
Okay. Anything else? Anybody else? Mr. Weinstein?
I'm just kind of, I kind of lost track of what happened to the, what was going on with this facility. Has that kind of been put on?
It's
Put on
there.
back
We're
to
here.
the bag and say,
Facility? With what?
And we're going to meet with Mr. Bosman and Ms. Truba to discuss the fees that we currently charge to see if
No,
they're.
he's talking about the building.
hey guys, I wasn't here for a couple.
Mr. Weinstein, I think we're going to return to that. Ms. Truba and I have been discussing it because of the way it was left and voted upon, and it is a stated goal. So I think we were waiting for after the budget to pass to return to that discussion.
I thought we were done speaking about it. No?
I don't think that, let's hold on to that thought, Ms. McGovern. To do zero, to do nothing at this point when we've got some repairs that need to be made and some things that are dangerous, we may need to return to that,
Like the metal steps.
like the metal steps that,
people might fall down.
yes.
Well, maybe we should have a planning and construction meeting. We'll talk about that as well.
There you go.
The facilities audit anyway.
Right, I mean, these are, okay. We'll
Okay,
talk
can we
about-
return? return to that and perhaps the planning and construction committee can meet. Is that good with you, Mr. Weinstein?
Sure, great.
Okay. Yes, Mr. McCarthy.
Just as a point of information, I understand that that is a board goal, but I do just want to be clear that a decision to do nothing is also meeting that goal. That when I agreed to that goal, that was the spirit of the goal that I agreed to. So,
All right.
I just want to be very
We'll
clear.
clarify it. We'll bring that up again. All right,
Sounds
Mr.
good.
McCarthy. Thank you. For new business, I just had one thing I'd like to discuss that some of you may have seen in the school board notes. This being Arts Month, Teen Arts Month, New Jersey School Board Association is looking for fine arts students to perform, sing, dance, music, or other talents for the school board convention, October 23rd, 22nd, and 23rd. And they're encouraging all districts to submit some names of students who might like to perform down at Atlantic City. So perhaps our fine arts teachers can, maybe student representatives, you can bring that back to school. And if you know anybody who would like to perform at the convention down at Atlantic City, you have a wonderful audience and a beautiful venue to perform. So perhaps our district can be represented down there.
Definitely.
Any other new business? Yes, Ms. McGovern.
Dr. Spankwitz, we did have a young man become a national champion in track.
Yes, we do.
I know, again, we don't always bring teams. However, we do bring individuals for individual agreements. We also had our track team become state champions for the first time.
Yeah, we were planning on having the track team next month's meeting, the state champions, we bring state champions typically. I have to speak. I did see that. I spoke with Mr. Todd today. We'll look into that further with the national.
Because we did a great job.
Some of these events are independent events. They're not sanctioned by the NJSIA. These kids will go to them on their own. Our coaches don't go with them. It's a separate thing, not to take away from the accomplishment in any way.
Right.
But it's sort of outside of the realm of the team.
My travel soccer team made.
Correct, to similar to something like that. But we certainly plan on having the team here.
We do it. I'm aware.
Next month. Yes.
That would be wonderful.
Yes.
Thank you very much. Ms. Hayes?
Mr. Amato is here, so I don't know if he wants to mention our spelling bee success at the Scripps Regional Spelling Bee last night.
You're on a microphone, I mean.
You don't want to hear? Come on.
Put you on the microphone and tell us about
You told me about it.
Thank you.
That was a wonderful.
Sorry.
So I'm sure they were gonna have Vonnie here too, and she was gonna put us through a little quiz. We usually like to have her come to one of our supervisor meetings, but Vonnie Nair made it to the top 15, which eventually resulting in a top 10 finish. Which is, to my knowledge, the furthest that we've ever had a student representative get to. What was also cool, he is no longer a student of ours, but he was one of our runner-ups last year, former student that goes to Oak Hill Academy now, but he was also on stage. It was really cool. He ran right up to me, shook my hand. He was there as well. That was Amir Waldman. His sister was a finalist in our school spelling bee as well. So it was really cool that we had, really two Spartan legacies up on the stage. And it was a great night. Mr. Schwartz and I attended, and it was suspenseful. It was actually very suspenseful. There was a young lady that from Neptune that won, and she actually got a word wrong, went to the seat, but then the next couple contestants got theirs wrong, and she re-entered and then took the victory. So it was actually suspenseful. It was great. And it was really cool to see a local student win that. So it was great. But to our student, Avani Nair, congratulations. That was a tremendous performance.
Excellent. Thank you, Mr. Amato. Yeah, wow. Spelling counts.
That's why they're spell check now.
Said the English teacher.
Says the English teacher. All right, we'll move to public comment then on any item. Is there someone in the queue?
I'm sorry, I apologize. I did have something else to say. So I think I brought this up before, when we have things that we have nixed on the budget, like small things. How can we go out into the community and try to ask for some of these things amongst our business leaders? Remember when I first got on the board, I made a call to a dentist and they gave us a $3,000 dental or something or another, just because it was nixed, and like, I called my dentist. Can we maybe like take a look at some of the, the mixed things, like there was classroom wooden floors need refinished, that was mixed, like one room needs removed carpet and install tile. Like little small cabinetry and countertops in one classroom. Like, I just feel like we could be a little bit more creative maybe to help solve some of these small minor issues. And we're all a bunch of successful people in town and we know a lot of people. So maybe is that something like we can get momentum on, or maybe nobody's interested in that, but
I'm interested.
yeah. Are there another line item, like, you have the priority 1, 2, 3, is there another list of like really, really minor things that we weren't even privy to? Okay, because maybe the PTAs could, fix the cabinet and countertop in C110. I don't know where that is, but somebody asked for C110 to be fixed.
Really good for
I'm
me.
sure we all know.
Years ago. Yeah, years, may I?
Well, before we go into that, there are ongoing discussions with our legislators, and more funding could become available in the next couple of months. So before we go and ask our business leaders, who may in fact be struggling themselves in this economy, to do something for free for us, can we wait a little bit and see, in fact, if we do qualify for more grants, more funding. As I said, there's money to be had if in fact the Assembly passes this bill that our education chair is working on. And there may be some more grant money available that could in fact be used for some of these smaller line items that we would like to see, including small repairs, as you said, floor finishing. But I'm not quite sure it's fair to ask local businesses to
say no.
Well, yeah, but
I see your point, but
right, it's tough for everybody.
Ask.
And we don't want to put anybody on the spot, but the point is definitely well taken, Ms. Hayes.
Can't we go to the PTAs? PTAs ask everybody for money every day.
Yes, but for smaller, what, I'm not sure what PTAs are asked for these days to supply. I mean, like what?
I don't know.
Refinish a counter? I don't know.
Maybe there's a parent who's in that field that would be willing to. I don't know. I just think we shouldn't shut it down right away.
No, not shut it down. And those of you that have contacts with the local PTAs, it might be nice for us to set up a meeting with some board members and the PTA presidents and just tell them our dilemma. But before we ask them for things, let's wait and see what our final numbers look like before we can ask them to find some funds for us for certain things. Give it a little bit more time. Thank you. Ms. Conway, I think that Sylvia wanted to get in the queue for a comment. Can we begin our public comment session then?
Yes, our first commenter in virtual, however, is Tiffany Fisher, and then Sylvia will be second.
Thank you very much. Ms. Fisher?
Please go ahead.
Hi. Okay, so I just wanted to say that I received an email from Ms. Truba about an Oprah request that I submitted. And in it stated that I am paying for 2 hours for operating maintenance secretary at $33.87 an hour, plus an hour and a half for the tech administrator at $69.44 an hour, for a total of $171.90. And that is not with including electronic files and info being scanned for me. And I'm just wondering how much it would have cost if I was going to get all of that information with, the information scan and e-files and everything, how much it would have cost me. And I also wanted to know how much it would cost if you omitted the hourly rate and just charged me for the electronic files and the information being scanned. Because what was I going to say? I'm sorry, I lost my train of thought. I'm just curious because I requested receipts from other people who have paid fees. I have not received any, so I'm wondering if this is just, a new thing or if it's been going on for a while. To pay that amount of money, and as a taxpayer, who she just said, we pay all this money in taxes. Why are we being charged all this money for information that we have a right to have as taxpayers? So, I'm asking for 5 years, which I know is a lot, but my children were in 4 schools within the span of 5 years. So I want information from all the schools, which I don't think is unreasonable. Now, I also want to know, I want you guys to know that if I do have to pay that amount of $171.90, that I will be paying it with loose pennies and watching her count it one by one till I get a receipt that it was paid in full. Like she watched me read documents at Wanamass School, which I don't understand why I had to be watched. And she was suggested that I get an Oprah to begin with at the meeting that we were at, because I didn't know anything about Oprah requests until she said something about it.
Sure, if I may, and
I'm not done. I've been waiting for 2 hours to speak. I'm not done. I want to know how people with low incomes can afford Oprahs in this district if you charge them half their paychecks. How do you get information about the schools, which you have every right to have, if you charge them an obscene amount of money for it? I just want to know.
Ms. Fisher, this is something that you can discuss privately in a phone call to Ms.
I
Truba.
think the public should know that if they want an Oprah in the district, that they are going to pay for it.
Yes, and it is true that our administrative costs, when someone requests Oprah documents, that is correct, but please, this is something that you should discuss with Ms. Truba privately, and I'm not quite sure that this is the venue to discuss your payment of Oprah funds. So I thank you for your comments, and we'll move on, Ms. Conway, to the next commenter. Thank you very much.
Our next commenter will be Sylvia, and please go ahead.
Good evening, Sylvia.
Hi, everybody. Can you hear me?
A little muffled, but
Wait a second. I'll see if I can make it louder.
there you go.
There we go. Okay. Hi, it's nice to see you all, and I'm glad you can't see me. I wanted to just comment on a bit of the budget presentation, and I've been reading it as you go along. I think you guys did a magnificent job with it. I know how grueling it is during budget season. I don't know if everybody realizes how much work goes into that for the little tiny bit of the budget that you have any leeway with. I think we have great schools. You raised my kids well. I want great schools. They certainly support the valuable properties that we have. Great schools sell houses, and like everybody. Well, you know what? I'm not going to speak for everybody, but I want great schools. I just don't want to pay for them. So, with that in mind, I commend you for all the work that you've done, and I'm not positive if everybody's aware that even when you get a flat amount of funding the same 1 year as you did the year before, that really is a decrease, because your expenses, your healthcare, your salaries, keeping the lights on, everything goes up, and you still get the same. So we're really happy, because and in the end of the day, we might have only lost like $50,000 over last year, but through no fault of anybody's, and certainly not through the taxpayers either, that you really are working with less, even though it seems like you have the same amount. And for that reason, I think you did a great job. If I read everything correctly, you didn't even use all the waivers that you were entitled to. So, good job on that. I don't think it's your jobs to be property tax experts, but I'm glad to hear that, you do strive to get educated on what that process is, which is entirely different than creating a budget. And it might be good information to share with people that there is what's called it's a property tax estimator, and you can get it on our assessor's website. You can get it on the Monmouth County Clerk's website, on the Monmouth County tax assessor's website, and you put your address in it, and it'll pop up with what you were assessed at and what you paid over the last few years and what you're anticipated to pay this year. And it really does relieve a lot of people, because sometimes you might see a 30% increase in your assessment. So you think that automatically means 30% more dollars out of your pocket, but it doesn't. It matters what the multiplier ends up being at the end of the day. You might be paying the same, but have a more valuable house. And then we are assessed again next year, because we're a market value model in Monmouth County, and we're assessed every year. I think I had one other thing. I do really applaud the out of the box thinking for different ways to provide items, but I would caution against maybe going too soon. And my regular day gig is I run a chamber of commerce, so other people's business is kind of my business in Asbury Park, and the small businesses are really still struggling to get out, to get on their own stability right now. And having been a PTA president in Ocean in the past, I can tell you that even in the good times, and it was good times when I was there, they struggle with their own budgets, and there are some restrictions, a lot of restrictions on what they're allowed to use those dollars for. They can't conflict with things that the property tax, the tax levy is already supposed to provide. So I'd just be cautious right now, asking for people who are already choking a little bit, maybe wait a little bit on that. And hopefully, as President Gilman said, you might be getting some more funding at the end of the day. That's all. Thank you all so much for all your hard work.
Thank you, Ms. Sylvia. And the property tax estimator sounds like an excellent resource, and I hope some of the audience members will use that. And thank you for your insight into how PTA money can be spent. And thank you for the encouragement that we need when working out a budget that's difficult for everyone. So thank you very much for your comments. If there are no further comments, yes, young man. Please give us your name.
My name is Logan Kaplan.
Don't worry about it. That's okay.
First, before I say anything, I want to, commend the school bathroom situation has gotten better.
Oh, good.
Thank you. But I have some other things I'd like to address.
Okay.
So I'm 17 years old, a junior in the high school. My mother is a therapist. My father is in sales. I also was recently invited in the National Honor Society, and I'm working completing my Eagle Scout project, where I'll be building a prayer area outside of my synagogue. I would like to start off by saying that some of the problems I will be addressing I do not personally have answers to. I, however, do think it is important that I address these things that I see wrong and hope they would be fixed, because I feel it's past the point where I am comfortable not saying anything about them. When I was younger, I was told how great the Ocean Township schools were. Ocean was known to have a really good high school. This wasn't just anecdotal. In fact, only 10 years ago, we were the 55th highest ranked public high school in the state by the Washington Post. 6 years before that, we were ranked 21st by Newsweek. The school went from being one of the top public high schools in the state down to the bottom 50% by some estimates, on the generous end, around 177th. That's according to US News, which is still over 100 places down from 10 years ago. And some websites even estimated as far down as 272 out of 415 public high schools. That is from the website School Digger. We are also falling behind in almost every subject according to greatschools.org, and even our school website acknowledges we are behind in both maths and sciences. And I guess my first question is, what happened? A couple of weeks ago, I was talking to a student, and throughout our conversation, the student alluded to cutting himself. As a person who was concerned, I had let a teacher know what was disclosed to me, and it was handled very well, actually. I called down so that they could address specific details, so that way I could address specific details. And the person who manages the case in the school, I explained, and then I just asked if they were going to be reporting this to the student's parents. They said they are required to tell the student's parents, and that's a good thing. It is best for parents to know information about their children because nobody cares for them or worries for them more. Most school administrators or officials do not know these kids, their parents do, and I think it's a sacred bond that should not be violated. Recently, the state made a law that requires schools to hide students' sexual information from their parents and to contact the school attorney against the parents if they disagree with it. I see this as nothing but the state trying to separate children from their parents. I think the reason you don't see more parents against this is because many of them don't even know what's going on. I think you need to tell every parent that if they send their kids to the school, the state has mandated our school to lie about the child's sexual information. And if you, the parent, find out about this and object, the school may have to contact its lawyers against you. And even if you find out and request they don't do this, the bill will mandate that we disregard you entirely. I urge the board to make a very public notice that if you send your child to the school, that it is incumbent on the administration to hide sexual information about their children from them, and that if that situation were to arise. At the last board meeting, I recall there being explained there is a serious vetting process with these students beforehand, which seems to run contrary to both what people who would be privy to this knowledge have said and the fact that the state bill states a school district shall accept a student's asserted gender identity. Parental consent is not required. Further, a student need not meet any threshold diagnosis treatment requirements to have his or her gender identity recognized and respected by the district, school, or school personnel. So if this process did exist, would that not be in violation of the law I just read verbatim? I am not sure if there actually is a vetting process, and if that is in case, would that not be, again, in violation of the law? Before I go into the next section, I would like to say a bit about myself and my family. I have an ancestor who fought in the 20th Maine Infantry at Gettysburg, a war to free the slaves. My great-grandfather served in World War II to fight the Nazis. Part of my family was killed in some of the worst genocides in human history. Over the last year, I've had people call me concerned for my safety as I walk to synagogue every Saturday, whether it be because of a terror threat or a white supremacist shooting. I would be remiss if I did not mention Jews are the number one target of hate crimes in this country, and that is by a large margin. I cannot put more of an emphasis on how much I despise and hate racism. How would it sound if I were to say that the entire student body of our school was asked to stand for a white national anthem? I know I would be disgusted and never stand for something unjust and wrong. We were, in fact, asked to stand for a racially exclusive national anthem in our school, and I believe this is wrong. Or the fact that a select group of students were invited to a racially specific field trip. I have a flyer one of my friends was handed, and if you're interested in seeing it, I have it here. Beyond that, what is this doing? Is this helping racial divisions at all? I talked to a lot of parents, teachers, and students in this school, and the sentiment is that this school is rapidly declining. Where will it be at this rate 5 years from now? Please keep the politics out of our school and focus on giving these students and parents the respect they deserve. Thank you very much.
Thank you for your comments. Oh, okay. I thought you dropped something. Thank you for your comments, and I'm sure we will all take them into consideration. Well written. Is there anyone else in the audience who would like to speak? No. Then I will call for the meeting to be adjourned.
Second.
Yes, meeting adjourned. Thank you.